Very happy Friday to you. Here we are at the end of the week, or almost moving into the weekend. And I've actually spent a good part of my week simplifying some of my in house processes in my businesses and really thinking through some of the things that I'm doing, trying to organize myself better. It seems to be a mountain that I come round again and again and again. And I actually wrote, I write on my blog every day. That's just one of the commitments I have. I go live every day. That's one of the commitments I have. And then this is all repurposed into a podcast. Okay, so there are a few things, just a few habits that I'm building in and looking to work systems around those in order to do them efficiently and do them well. I found that we can find a lot of peace through process. You know, the problem that a lot of creative entrepreneurial type people have is that they love the kind of making, but they're not so keen on the maintaining. They love the start of something. They love the chase. They love to start, but not to stay. And it's very easy to jump from one thing to another. And particularly as something grows, um, it becomes it becomes more consuming. I mean, it can consume a lot of our time. It can consume a lot of energy to keep the wheels moving on whatever machine you have put in place. And I'm thinking really from a very much a business perspective, but I believe the same is true in our kind of personal life as well. That if we don't have systems and processes and habits, and do hear me, I'm not a big systems type guy. Okay, systems is not my favorite thing to think about. Organizing stuff is that I'm just that's not my personality, and I guess that's why this has become a subject of great interest to me, and one that I kind of swing round the mountain quite often to revisit and either relearn if I've not learned it the first time round, or actually build upon and move towards a much more efficient lifestyle. And for me, it's not just all about production. It's not just all about like multitasking and doing more. Oftentimes, it's actually wanting to do better. I want to do the things that I do better and more efficiently so I can free up bandwidth, okay, mental bandwidth largely, emotional bandwidth, because everything takes energy in order to, that I can then give that same energy and thought to other things and to expanding and to learning and to growing instead of just the kind of maintenance of something. And the problem is, if we don't put habits and systems in place, things are left way too much to chance. And we end up having to make the same decisions again and again and again. Again, this kind of proverbial mountain that we go round. We often, many times, particularly in business, but in life as well, there are lots of activities that we undertake that we do either on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And having systems in place can make those activities a great deal more seamless and remove friction. Decisions are always cause friction. Decisions that we have to make, if we are the one needing to make those decisions each and every time, can be a real bottleneck. A system frees you from that, and a system and a process whereby you've made the decision once, and then you document, you granulate that, you document that, and then that becomes your playbook. And we can do that in so many areas and just remove friction. Because like life can be very sandpapery. Life can be full of, it can be like walking through thick mud sometimes. We've had a lot of rain here and things, we have very clay-like soil where I live, and like walking through sometimes can be quite an interesting challenge. And so really, I just want to encourage you today. If you are in business, but at the same time, this does apply to so many activities we undertake on a day to day basis just in our personal life, because administrating a home, administrating all of the different responsibilities that we carry, everything requires energy. And sometimes we fail to put a process in place. We fail to even recognize that either a process is needed or that we ourselves are already kind of following a process of sorts in most of the activities we undertake. Once we begin to get that system down and to document it, we can get someone else to do it for us. I'm a big advocate and a big believer in not doing everything yourself. If you are in business, and I'm thinking entrepreneurial business, I've never not really ever had a brick and mortar type business, no big concern with like 60 employees or something like that. It's just me and my laptop, a few kind of virtual helpers, writers, creatives, designers, whatever. My business is actually very, very simple. But at one time, I was doing every part. I mean, it literally was like, what do they call it? The chief cook and bottle washer of my business. And slowly I've moved around, moved away from that kind of overburdened model, and understood that actually, in order to scale and in order to, instead of me working for my business working for me, it really requires like stepping into a different mindset and a different level of trust. Trust really is a big thing in business, I think. Oftentimes, the difficulty of stepping over that line of like letting go and relinquishing control of aspects of your kind of process, yeah, relinquishing control of that to someone else to fulfill actually takes a level of trust. Oftentimes we are it's actually much easier to just stay with the comfortable familiarity of what you've always done. But the problem is, what you've always done is not necessarily what you can then hand on and have someone else do for you. It's based around your own kind of, you know it all in here. You've got the playbook in your head somewhere, but it's never actually been put down so you can hand that roadmap to someone else. And so I seek to do that in my business. I seek to look at each of the different components that make up, say, for example, my publishing business or the running of other aspects of my kind of online coaching, and look for where I can apply systems, look for where I can apply processes that will extract me from being the necessary cog in that machine. And as you do, instead of just kind of being an entrepreneur who has created their own job, you kind of step back and become a business owner who is managing the business and managing the expansion and the scale and the scope of that business. I've certainly found that it's something that I have to come back around to again and again. I have to, it's like peeling an onion. I think I've got it. And then I discover like holes. There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, and the system leaks. And when a system leaks, it can break down. I mean, there's the second law of thermodynamics which is like it really does um, it really is a big problem for evolutionists, okay, on the scientific side of things. But the second law of thermodynamics works all the time in this natural world. Yeah. If a system is left without any injection of energy or design, it will naturally break down. You know, time does not turn an amoeba into a stallion. Okay. It just doesn't happen. um, the stallion may break down and become a pile of goo. Yeah, it works in the opposite direction. Yeah, time breaks things down if energy and design are not infused into that system. It's the same with the processes that we create in our business. They need to be a certain. There's a huge infusion of energy and thought and consideration goes in up front, which is why many people never even kind of apply themselves to that. They're so busy doing the work that they fail to actually document the work that they do so someone else can do it on their behalf. And secondly, once we've got the systems in place, and this is where I certainly fall down, is that we don't bind ourselves to that system and do what is necessary to infuse whatever energy and focus is required to make sure everything goes into that system and is kind of monitored as it goes through the system, whatever system you've created. The thing is, though, with a good system, like I say, you remove friction, and a very, very efficient system requires little energy to keep the wheels moving. And this is really my aim, is to put systems and processes in place for, say, for like my publishing business, my online training and coaching, etc., is to look and think, how can I put efficient systems in place that can really virtually run without my input. Now, obviously, it takes oversight, but instead of me kind of pushing a wheelbarrow up to the top of the hill every day, I want to install an elevator on the ground floor so we can just step in and go right to the peak. And I think that these systems, what I wrote about today, I titled "Peace Through Process." And process really can give us a tremendous sense of peace and can open up a much broader scope for us to grow and expand and give consideration to things other than just the daily grind of trying to keep all the wheels moving. I believe that God has great things for you. I believe that God has I one of some of my favorite scriptures. Some of there are many. I've got many favorite scriptures, but I just love the scriptures in Hebrews 4 where it talks about there therefore remains a rest for the people of God, and that the people of God have the ability to receive that, to receive wisdom, to know how to cease from their own works and enter into a rest of faith. And I think the part of that rest, is not that we just sit under a tree singing "Kumbaya" till Jesus comes back, but that we actually apply ourselves with kind of divine direction and wisdom, how to build our lives, how to build our businesses, how to build our marriages, our children, and to have things in place that support and undergird the goals and desires that we carry in our heart instead of pulling against them. We want things that actually work with us and push in the direction that we want to go, rather than a bunch of kind of uncertainties that we're carrying like boulders tied to our back. And so I just really wanted to kind of weigh in and just to encourage you. I mean, even in your personal life, you know, um, beginning to put habits and systems in place for the building of your spirit life, for the building of your emotional life. All of these things are the same thing: finding peace through process, having a certain time every day that you spend with Jesus, having a certain kind of program that you follow to try and stay fit and exercise. And these things don't have to be some kind of grand undertaking. There's a very popular book called Atomic Habits that talks about like how just very small habits can lead to incredibly powerful and life-changing results. I believe that because small habits build upon small habits until they actually develop into a lifestyle. And whereas at one time, we were taking our habits were helping us take just one or two steps forward toward the desire of our heart, pretty soon those habits have a tendency, when we exercise them, to get bigger and stronger and more powerful, and can lift us further. We can go further with them, and we find that what began as a very small change over time becomes a very kind of notable, remarkable, dramatic kind of pillar in our lives, which carry a lot of the weight that maybe we're dragging right now. So yeah, you go ahead, take from this what you want, whether it's for your personal life, whether it's for your business life, whether it's for your spiritual life. Infusing energy in and giving consideration to how you can kind of be very systematic in the way you approach things. So you remove the friction of decision. It's just what you do. I pray each day. I rise at a certain time and I pray. It's just what I do. And so, yeah, just apply this in your sphere. Apply this in your life in whatever way you deem it to be useful. Hey, God bless you. Have a great day. And I look forward to seeing you next week.